Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us on the 6 p.m. newscast on La Television du Monde. We are broadcasting live from our studios here in the country's economic capital, Douala. We'll begin right away with this report that says, according to the latest report from the United Nations Office of Humanitarian Affairs, at least 1.3 million people are in dire need of humanitarian assistance in the two English-speaking regions of the country due to the socio-political upheavals. Details with Anzita Bevian Akebe.
A report published on the 30th of July 2019, partly read as a humanitarian situation in Cameroon, is on a downward slope despite the different aid observed from international partners and local NGOs. The humanitarian situation in the northwest and southwest regions of the country continues to deteriorate. At least 1.3 million people are in need of assistance and over 530,000 people are internally displaced, according to this report. The report further says that though the desire to help the people exists, the security situation makes it difficult for the different goodwill organizations to get to the people. Access to people in need is becoming increasingly difficult for the humanitarian committee due to rising insecurity, access constraints, hamper humanitarian assessments and prevent assistance reaching those most vulnerable. The conflict that draws to close to 3 years today has already deprived countless persons of basic necessities like shelter, health, and most importantly, the right to education. According to latest reports from the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, at least 1.3 million people are in need of humanitarian assistance in Cameroon's northwest and southwest region due to the socio-political unrest.
And now in the east region of the country, the governor of the east region of the country, Gregoire Vongo, has imposed a curfew on motorbikes rider as from midnight to 6 a.m. This information is coming after the death of a custom officer killed Monday, breaking Tuesday in the part of the country. Details in the following report. The circulation of motorbikes in Betua and Manjun in the east region of Cameroon has been prohibited from midnight to 6 a.m. This follows a decision signed Wednesday by the governor of the East region, Gregoire Vongo, after the assassination of a custom officer Monday, breaking Tuesday. Eyewitness accounts say the deceased was returning from a wedding ceremony of his brother. On board a motorbike was attacked by hoodlums who shot him twice on the chest. He died on the spot while the bike rider was severely hurt and is receiving treatment at the military garrison hospital. The rising security in the east regions, inhabitants say, is as a result of the constant power cut by NAO. They say thieves benefit from blackout as they cannot be identified. Denizens are unable to move freely as many get attacked by thieves. Denizens are unable to move freely as many get attacked by thieves. As a result of the constant harassment and killings committed at midnight by bandits, the governor had therefore imposed a curfew in the two towns. The decision of the governor, many bike riders say, is acceptable as they are equally not safe from the hands of hoodlums. And the defender of human rights in Central Africa, Redak, in a press conference here in the country's economic capital, presented mutinies in the Kondenge prison in Yaoundé and Boya prison. They include rights violation, acts of torture, inhuman and degrading treatments of inmates. Redak said 3 to 4 detainees in Cameroon are yet to be judged. It equally confirmed that Mancho BBC Pen Teres TC Conrad, Felice Galim, and close to 200 inmates or handed detainees removed from Kondenge are very much alive but undergoing severe torture are equally pains. They have been refused or denied medical attention. Redak added that some are yet have been sent to set others elsewhere in the country. And on to something else, the Minister of Justice and keeper of the seals, Laurent Eso, calls on the presidents of the Court of Appeal in the 10 regions of the country to, as a matter of extreme urgency, forward to him all proposals related to the Parliament, to the pertinent reshufflement, equally an amendment on how to reduce bottleneck that has led to a delay in judicial proceedings, liable to be included in a subsequent amendment of the Penal Code. It should be noted that this is actually coming up after the strike actions by some inmates in the Kondengi Maximum Prison. We now talk about education, where over 62 clandestine schools have been banned in 4 regions of the country by the Ministry of Secondary Education after a report from the Identification and Control Mission of the National Control Brigade for Secondary Schools. Details in the following report.
At least 62 private schools in 4 regions of Cameroon have been banned by the Ministry of Secondary Education for operating without due authorization. The ban was made public July 29th after a report from the Identification and Control Mission of the National Control Brigade for Secondary Schools. In the Central region, 14 schools have been shut down, 22 in the Littoral region, 3 in the East and 2 in the South region of Cameroon. 6 other regions in the country have not been affected by the sanction. The decision of banning clandestine secondary schools in Cameroon comes few weeks to school resumption for the 2019-2020 academic year. It should be recalled that each year, a list of clandestine schools, both primary and secondary schools, are made public before school's resumption. However, officials of the National Control Unit for Private Establishments stated that in order for a private establishment to go operational, the owner must first declare its attention, present all intellectual, financial and infrastructural arguments. Once the authorization has been obtained, the person concerned must apply for authorization to operate. At this stage, the number of teachers, classrooms, orders are assessed. Those who fail to fulfill the conditions will not be allowed to function.
The Bokwai community in Boya municipality, that is in the southwest region of the country, has been disenclaved through the rehabilitation of 2 earth road. This project worth 27 million francs CFA was carried out by the Boya Council within the context of the decentralized credit. Details with Nanji Pelaji.
As part of its efforts to improve upon the living conditions of the local population, the Boya Council reached out to the Bokwai village, one of the largest in the municipality, to disenclave it through the rehabilitation of 2 earth roads. The mayor of Boya Council, Ekema Patrick Esungia, is on the field this day to officially inaugurate and hand over this project to the local population.
The first phase of the project starts from Bova 1, precisely from the CCC Church down to the Bokwai roundabout. The project is worth 27 million francs CFA within the context of the decentralized credits. We have equally done the same project from Bokwango to Gwasa. Our intention was to carry the road right down to Lekombe, but we could not because of financial constraints.
This project was greatly appreciated by the local community, who saw it as a solution to their numerous road problems, especially during the rainy season.
The road was very impassable. It was very difficult. There were a lot of hills, stony and so on. So to go to Bova, we were passing through Butingi, Bokova, Bonaka, and Bova, through to Bova 1. So it was so long.
The council equally has other earmarked projects worth 100 million francs, notably in water and energy for the Bonavada area, to be executed in the next 3 months.
We just signed 3 contracts worth 100 million francs CFA, which we have awarded, respecting the regular tender procedure, and one of which is 40 million francs to improve on the Bonavada water supply. We decided to increase on the energy level of supply within the Bonavada community by providing them with an independent three-phase transformer. And thirdly, we signed a contract to improve on the security of the area by providing street lights.
This was the first official outing of the mayor of Boya, Ekema Patrick Esunge, after he was conferred with the title of Nyamotok Patolo by the traditional rulers of.
Stay in the southwest region of the country. Stakeholders on the judiciary sector recently held a one-day workshop to train and sensitize actors in the arbitration process which is in its preliminary state of implementation in the common law. Our reporter Kuma Honore was part of the workshop and put together the following report.
The legal profession, which used to be considered by many as a noble profession, is fast losing its prestige due to the failing nature of the judiciary system in Cameroon. The litigation procedure in Cameroon has become cumbersome and time-consuming, causing a delay in the judiciary process, thus causing many persons to have lost confidence in the judiciary system. It is often said that justice delayed is justice denied. More also, the legal profession have been invaded by quacks and charlatans who use the legal profession to extort money from clients, as such degrading the image of the profession. It is against this backdrop that a non-governmental organization known as Pro Peace for Sustainable Development recently organized a one-day workshop in Limbe to sensitize participants on international arbitration and professional ethics. Participants were drawn from different spheres of life, including lawyers, accountants, maritime litigators, journalists, just to name but these few. The field of arbitration may be new in Cameroon, but not new to the world, as it has been long practiced in Europe, America, and other African countries. However, there is an OAHADA Act of Arbitration with other instruments rectified by the government of Cameroon on arbitration. But what is arbitration? Barrister Epi, CEO and founder of Pro Peace for Sustainable Development, seeks to explain.
Arbitration generally is a means of alternative dispute resolution, wherein parties, instead of going to the state-owned court system, may refer their issues to an arbitration center. So basically that's what an arbitration is. Our goal is to eventually have an arbitration center around us, within our jurisdiction. From there, we will be able to develop other things, develop ourselves. The first and most important thing is for us, the lawyers, to gain expertise knowledge in arbitration. Then we can become trainers. We can now exercise our profession in that line.
The catching moment of the workshop was a presentation by Barrister Tanguni Gilbert on professional ethics. His presentation was basically to highlight on the needs for lawyers to uphold those moral values which makes the practice esteemed by others.
When we came into this profession, we saw old lawyers, whom we looked at with a lot of respect. And it is that respect, which brought lots of us into this profession. But today we see that lots of things are going just the wrong way. Lots of the younger generation who are coming in, they no longer have value for the ethics, and so the topic of my expose today was all the more important in the face of this badgering of the profession by people who don't want to keep to the rules.
Also present for the workshop was Arman Takem, member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitration. He lauded on the initiative by Pro Peace for Sustainable Development to make Cameroonians have a widespread understanding on what arbitration is all about.
One thing is sure, I am going back with a particular understanding of how necessary the area of arbitration is vis-à-vis common law, vis-à-vis Cameroonian lawyers.
The workshop is second in a series of workshops organized in the preliminary stage for the erection of an arbitration center in the English-speaking regions of Cameroon.
And out of the southwest region of the country, the Heard community of the western region of Cameroon held their first meeting in the Sancho Heard district in order to assess the activities carried out throughout the first half of the year. Details of this report with Vilin Ama.
The coordination of activities of the health structures of the Western region started on the 30th of July and will end on the 1st of August 2019. During the meeting, the main actors of the health system of the Western region in the chambers of the Acts of Municipality of Sanju were questioned to make an uncompromising evaluation of activities carried out during the first 6 months of the current year in order to share experiences, learn lessons and also propose solutions for the difficulties encountered so as to improve the quality of care offered to patients. Furthermore, since the introduction in January 2019 in all the health facilities of the Sunset region under the instruction of the Ministry of Public Health and the District Health Information Software tool, which is a tool for collection, validation, analysis and transmission of health data and indicators for effective decision-making in the management of health problems encountered. This tool is, however, not the best, but the central theme that allowed for an overview of the importance of the District Health Information Software and the regional delegate for public health in the West to invite all his employees to take ownership of these tools with a current completion rate of 85.5% through the weekly teleconference that brought together all 20 health districts in the Western region. Nonetheless, the goal is to reach 100% both in completion and promptness as all the health programs have been running despite the difficulties. However, for the next 6 months, the regional delegation of the West will continue the epidemiological surveillance and the campaigns of vaccination in order to improve the care of patients in the health facilities and also to lay emphasis on the fight against the illicit sale of drugs on the streets and the diversion of patients and illegal practice of medicines.
And on to ASAT news that the death of Cameroon ex-Prime Minister has been announced. That is Seydou Hayatou died this morning at the age of 77. He served as Prime Minister in Cameroon from the 26th of April 1991 to April 9th, 1992 to have played a leading role during the political crisis in Cameroon. And news out of the country, authorities of Sudan have banned schools from the resumption of school following the killings of some students that is they had a protest and led to the killing of some student. Details with CNN News.
الليله بس طالبنا بحق طلبه قتلوهم في اللوبيه دل كويس طلب المدارس كلهم مرقوا عشان يطالبوا بحقهم.
We shall be bringing you the updates on Sudan. And on to another report. Doctors in the Democratic Republic of Congo have guaranteed 15 people in South Kivu province over fears that they have been infected by Ebola virus. Details with Al Jazeera.
This is the clinic in Goma where the man sought help before he died. He fell sick days after returning home from an Ebola-infected area where he was working in a mining area. The clinic is now closed. Some clinicians have been vaccinated and health workers are trying to trace people the victim made contact with. More than 1 million people live in this city on the border with Rwanda.
We did not know what was happening. We just saw people looking like doctors carrying him away. They said they will come back to vaccinate us.
We are afraid as Goma residents because we have seen how people are dying in Butembo and Beni, night and day.
The second worst outbreak in the country's history was declared a year ago and has since claimed the lives of 1,700 people. It's second only to the outbreak in West Africa that killed 11,000 people 5 years ago. Health workers trying to combat the outbreak are having to deal with militia groups and communities, both hostile to them, as well as poor infrastructure in vast regions where villages are hard to reach. Fatuma Kahambu is an Ebola survivor who spends her time taking care of children whose parents are either sick or dead. She also talks to people in her village in the town of Beni about the importance of healthcare. Some Congolese want to know about a new Ebola vaccine they've heard about.
People are saying the new proposed vaccine isn't good. Health workers need to sensitize people so they can understand, because this virus needs to go away.
The proposal by the World Health Organization to use the vaccine for clinical trials is controversial. Critics say the drug is experimental and shouldn't be tested on Congolese people. The WHO says vaccination is important for research.
WHO expert recommendation is very clear. We need to continue doing the clinical trial to get more information on safety and effectiveness. This will allow to have more concrete recommendations, the best way to use them. Because when we have an outbreak, this is an opportunity also to do further research.
Back in Goma, doctors try to work out how to stop the disease from spreading. Health workers in Goma say they're well prepared to deal with the situation. They've set up hand washing points in different parts of the city. They say the treatment centers are well equipped and they have enough personnel, but they're also warning people to keep vigil, avoid unnecessary contact with each other, but not to worry. But people that we've been speaking to in Goma are telling us that it's very difficult to keep calm at this moment. Catherine Soy, Al Jazeera, Nairobi, Kenya.
And that brings us to the end on today's edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on La Télévision du Monde. Wishing you a blessed stay in company of our programs. Till we meet again. Good night.